All right, welcome everybody to first attempt at video lessons. So, topic today is applications of percent, and this is one of my favorite lessons. I know I always say that, but this is one of my favorite lessons because this is where in the real world we actually use percents. And if any of you like to shop or any of you go out to eat, you're going to see today how you can use percents and how that can help you. So we are going to get started. Have your notes out, have them handy, and take a look at your first example. We have this fantastic computer desk. And so in Minnesota, you pay sales tax on most items that you buy. The sales tax is a percent of the purchase price. A tax percent is also called tax rate. And we have our very important formula here. Tax rate equal sales tax equals tax rate times the purchase price. So here's our example. We plan to buy this cool computer desk for our room. Costs $159.99. The state sales tax in the state that you are buying it is 6%. Little side note, 6% isn't our actual sales tax. It's not a nice clean percent like this. It's a percent. It's a a whole percent and a decimal. So just to keep the numbers somewhat easy, we're going to keep it at 6%. What will we pay for the desk? Well, a sales tax is something in addition to what we actually pay for the item. And any of you that have ever shopped at a dollar store, nothing at the dollar store is actually a dollar. It's $1.07, I believe. And so your actual sales tax is the amount that you pay on top of your item. So first thing we have to find is we have to find what is the sales tax. What extra are we going to be paying for this desk? So to do that, we can kind of take the math, turn it into words. We want to know what is 6% of $159.99. So to do that, gotta grab a pen and I am gonna write in red. So that means you are gonna write this in red too. And as we're going, if I'm going too fast or anything like that, remember you can always just hit pause. So we want to know our tax is, look at how I'm turning the math into words. We don't know what our tax is, so that's a variable. Our sales tax is 6%. So we write our 6% as a decimal. 6% of, and in math, of means times our purchase price, which is $159.99. To do this, we break out our handy dandy calculator because that's not a nice easy multiplication. So we do 6/100ths times $159.99, and we get this goofy number. And so I will write it down. It actually works out to be 9 and 5,994 ten thousandths. Excuse my handwriting there, that got a little away from me. So what we do is we know that in dollars and cents, I'm going to grab a different color pen here, and in dollars and cents, we only read dollars and cents to here, to the hundredth of a dollar or the penny. And so what we do is we look back one spot, and this is where we use our rounding rules. 5 or above, give it a shove. 4 or below, let it go. You look at this is 5 or above, it's a 9. So what that's going to do is actually bump this up 1. It bumps it up from a 9 to a 10. And so actually, after everything is said and done, this becomes $9 and basically 60 cents of tax. So this amount is how much we are paying in addition to our $159. So we take our $159 and our 99 cents and we add the sales tax, which is $9.60. And so after everything is said and done, you are going to walk out of that store with that nice looking desk for 100, and we label our answer because it was dollars and cents, $169.99. What a bargain. So if you have any questions on this one, you got to just raise your hand. I will come and help you if you're working on this from home. Check out the Edmodo site. You can post your questions. I'm going to try to check it at night. You can always hit pause if you need to finish up writing your notes, but we're going to move on to the next example. All right, for this one, basically it's the same thing. We just got to find what our sales tax is. We're going to set it up the same way. And so just so you know, I'm going to write this up here. We're going to still say that it's a 6% tax rate. Keep it easy. So that last desk wasn't doing it for you, so you really want to upgrade it, and you're going with this model. Well, this one costs $182.99. You only have $200 to spend. Do you have enough money for the bigger TV desk? Well, in order to know that, we need to know how much sales tax there is. So we take our tax rate, which is 6%, multiply that by the cost, which is $182.99. Break out the old calculator. 6/100 times $182.99 is, here's our sales tax, $10.98. It was a big longer decimal, but I went ahead and rounded it. Now, I could actually, if I wanted to do this, I could set it up $182.99 plus $10.98. I could crunch these numbers. I could get my actual amount. But if you go back and always read the question that ends in a question mark, that's the only thing you have to answer. It's asking, do you have enough money for the bigger desk? Well, I know that this is basically $11. This is $183. I know that that's not going to get me to $200. So it'll actually cost less than $200. So bottom line, yes, I have enough money to get that cool new desk. Does that make sense? Again, write this down in your notes. Raise your hand if you have any questions. But again, just another example to review. First off, your magic little formula up here, which if you're not sure, always refer to it. Sales tax is your tax rate, which is this, times your dollar amount. That will get you how much sales tax you pay. Add that to the cost of the item, and you got your grand total. This one is one of my all-time favorites, estimating a tip. Now, probably not too many of you go out to eat yet where you're in charge of the tip, but I am going to save it so that you don't have to go to your phone, go to your iPod. You don't have to break out a calculator in front of all of your friends later on in life when you are figuring out a tip. So remember this lesson fondly when you have to come up with a tip. So you go out to eat with your friends. The meal comes to $17.85. Find the amount of a 15% tip for the server. Typically, 15% is kind of your standard amount. If you get decent service, that's in addition to the actual cost of the meal. That's the amount you leave for the person that served you the meal. So in this case, easy way to do this is first round the total to the nearest dollar. So our actual meal, $17.85. That's not an easy one to figure 15% of, so I'm going to say that's about $18. Now, the cool thing about 15% is 15% is the same as 10% plus 5%. And the cool thing about this is 10% is an easy one to find. If you remember from a previous lesson, finding 10% of something is the same as dividing by 10. So I take my 18, I divide it by 10, and I've got $1.80. Now, that's only 10%. I'm not to 15%. But here's what's cool about this. 5% is half of 10%. We already know that 10% is $1.80. So All I have to do is find half of that, and I've got my 5%. Half of $1.80, 90 cents. Add it all together, and I've got $2.70. So in this case, if I want to find a 15% tip, it's about $18. So I do my 10%, divide it by 10, $1.80, take half of the $1.80, that's 90 cents, put it all together, $2.70. That is how much I could leave for a tip. And if I didn't want to be super, super cheapo, I could say about a $3 tip if you didn't want to count out quarters and dimes. Any one of those answers would be acceptable. If you have questions, again, raise your hand. But if you ask an adult, I'm sure any adult in your house is an expert at tipping, and they probably have some tips on how they come up with a tip. But an easy way, divide by 10, take half of it, that's your 5%, put it all together, there's your tip. And if you look down here, you have some examples that you can try on the back of your notes. Piece of cake. Now, in this next example, this is not probably something that you're going to come in contact with super soon, but if some jobs, especially if you're selling things like where if you sell big items like maybe cars or appliances, sometimes people work on a commission. They make a base salary, and then often if you sell an item, you get a commission. And so your commission is basically whatever your commission rate is, and that can vary. Some are lower, some are higher, times the sales price, or however much the item is. So in this example, find the commission on a $500 sale with a commission rate of 12.5%. So this person makes 12.5% of every sale that they make. So they take a $500 item, maybe it was a TV, and to find out how their commission that they would make on this, you multiply it by your commission rate, which is 12.5%. Well, to do that, we have to take that and turn it into a decimal, and we know to take a percent, turn it to a decimal, we move it 2 spots to the left. Our new decimal place is right in front of the number, and it looks like this. So our commission is 500 times 0.125. Take out the old calculator, work that out, and you get, oh, now I'm having calculator troubles. Hold on. You get a nice commission of $62.50. So again, to find your commission, it's just your commission rate times your sales price. And I'll even put a little dollar sign up there. Commission rate times your sales price. And you have your example right here. Give it a try. In our final example, here is where you can see how commissions could be really nice. And typically realtors do get about a 6% commission for each home that they sell. So whatever the sale price is, they take 6%. That is like the fee that they collect for doing the service of selling the house for you. So say you are sitting on this $1,500,000 mansion, and somebody wanted you to sell that for them. Well, let's find out how much money would you actually make if you sold that. So we take our commission rate, 6%, and we have to turn that to a decimal. Well, we move it 2 spots to the left. There's our new decimal point. Oh, there's an open space. We fill it with a circle. So we get 6% times $1,500,000. And if we take out the old calculator and work that out, we get a nice healthy commission of 1 day's worth of work. Yeah, it's probably more than 1 day's, but selling that one house would get you $90,000. Not too shabby. So here's an example where commissions can be quite profitable. So if you decide to get your real estate license, go looking for a $1,500,000 home, and you would have $90,000 to put in the old bank account. And here we have your homework. Now, one thing I was just there's a couple of problems on here, and I was just gonna point this out, that some of them will give you a total. So say you had a total of, oh, we gotta grab a pen, and I'll do this in blue just so you have an example. So say you have a $10 item, and it's 5% tax and 15% tip. Well, first you have to figure out how much tax is first, and then add that to your total, and then find your tip. So 5% tax on $10 works out $10 times 5% is, take out the old calculator, but this one actually you can do in your head, 50 cents. So my total is actually $10.50. Now, to figure out a tip, I could say that's about $11, and 10% is $1.10. Half of that is 55. Put it all together, it's $1.65. So after everything is said and done, I'm going to pay $10.50 plus, because remember the tax was 50 cents, so my total was $10 plus my 5% tax, $10.50. I'm going to add to that my tip, and if you don't remember how to find tips, check out earlier in the lesson, showed you how to do that. Grand total, this is a 5, this is a 1. I've got grand total of $12.15 for $10 meal plus a 5% tax plus a tip. So you'll see some problems on your homework tonight. That is an example to help you with those. Please write your homework down in your planner. I will also post this on the new Edmodo site. And again, have any questions, all you got to do is raise your hand. Happy to help, and good